again! Bex did this tag a long time ago, like in September, and I'm doing it now. So day and night tag, we were tagged by Heather, Heather's book review, and this is actually kind of interesting because this is a lot of information-y questions that I feel like we both touch on all the time, especially when we do our videos together, Bex and I. And I always kind of want to explain more about it, but then we ramble on for a long time and things get to be 24 minutes and then editing is just a pain. It's just ridiculous. So let's get going. So, first question. D. Do you read more in the morning or at night? Well, I like to read in the afternoon, mostly. During the summer, I would spend a lot of time waking up, sitting with a book while I eat breakfast, and then breakfast would gradually take 5 or 6 hours, and then it would become eating a book while lunchtime and keep going, and then I would stop like in the middle of the late afternoon, early evening, and do real person things with the day, and then read after supper before going to bed. That's how I like to read. But lately, you know, with school and all that, I don't have the kind of time. So I read mostly at night before I go to sleep. I try and plow through at least 10 pages because that, you know, sounds like a reasonable amount, eh? A, are there any books that have changed the way you thought about things? Sort of. There are a couple books with lines in them that I feel like keep coming up in my life in ways that I can relate to them. The Secret of Sarah Revere is a book I read way long ago. It's a piece of historical fiction about the American Revolution, and one of the main points in it was what matters more, the truth or what people think? And to this day, I still quote that at people all the time in possible situations. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. Casey? Cassie? I'm pretty sure it's Kesey. I had to read in my AP English class in high school, and there was a line in it that went, "It's the truth even if it didn't happen." I think it's at the very end of the first chapter, and I absolutely love that line. And to this day, I bring it up all the time in conversation and in class and at school, and I think it's very relatable in all kinds of psychological and like emotional ways. So it didn't change the way I thought about things, but it definitely has a presence in my life still today. Why YA or not? Really? Obviously YA. I mean, that's not all that Bex and I read on this channel, and y'all know that I read a ridiculous amount of children's literature. Yeah, definitely YA. Hello, have you heard of John Green? A, are there characters that you honestly believe are real? This is complicated, because I have this thing where I believe that as long as the book is open, the characters can be as real as you make them. When I read, I tend to feel like there are real people or creatures, whatever they are, that are actually acting out what I'm reading about. I like to think characters as real as long as the book is open, but once you shut the book, they stop being real. So characters are only real as you read. And I honestly believe they are somewhere. There's this whole mythical place where they all live, and then as soon as you shut the book, they disappear. So think of how many Harry Potters there are in the world. How many Harry Potters exist in this magical space. One for every person that's ever read it. Think about that. And nobody touches my books, or I don't mind lending my books out. If you're new to this channel, might I suggest you watch a couple videos with myself and Bex for further explanation of this question, but I'm not really big on lending my books out, purely because they're just really close to my heart, and they're my books, and I just seem to not trust people with them, especially if they're books I really like. I had a challenge lending Bex The Fault in Our Stars, and she is one of the people I would trust most to take really great care of a book, and I just don't like letting them out of my sight. I just need to preserve my collection, and lending them out makes me nervous. So nobody touches my books. Mostly. D. Do you ever smell your books? Yeah? Do you not? And not everyone loves books. Is this positive or negative? I wish everybody loved books, but that might lead to a mass paper shortage, barring all those e-reader things that they have now. No, to be perfectly honest, I really do wish everybody loved books, obviously, because I love them and I want to spread the love. But without people who did other things other than read all the time, I know I personally would never be exposed to things like visual art and film. I have a lot of friends who are film majors and know an insane amount about movies and television shows, which is where I sort of lack a lot. I keep up with maybe 4 television shows, and some of them are from the early to late 50s and 60s, so no one cares about them anymore. But without talking to people that don't read constantly, I would have no idea anything about other areas in life. So, glad there are people out there that are not like me. I keep my books in the best condition, or maybe not. Which are you? Didn't I just answer this? I like to keep my books in the best condition, unless they're already, when they come to me, like, used or secondhand or something. I guess that's the same thing. Unless they're already sort of falling apart or tattered. Even when they're falling apart and tattered, I like to keep that rough, kind of well-loved, beat-up look to them. On my copy of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the pages, the cover has come apart into like layers of paper, and there's this one layer in the middle that's hanging on just by a tiny little piece of paper, a couple paper threads, and I can't bear to just tear it off or tape it down or something because I want to leave it in exactly the same way that it was. Oh, it bothers me so much. So I like things to stay the same. I have a problem with change, especially in my books. And no spine creases. Gosh, paperbacks, please don't crease the spine. It just makes them go all like this and curve out, and then they don't fit in your bookcase, and then they don't line up, and it's just an organizational nightmare. So, books in best condition. Gee, gosh, I have too many books, true or false? First of all, is there such a thing? And second of all, I personally don't think that I own too many books. Right now, I feel like I own too many books that I haven't read, but I do feel like I have enough to make a satisfactory collection that I wish were bigger, but doesn't count as me having overloaded myself with literature. H, have you ever spilled or stained your books with something, and if so, how? Let's talk about how funny it is that my book that I have stained is also Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and mine has water damage too! I have a table next to my bed, and then next to that, below it, I have a small little shelfy stool thing that's ceramic, and it's like this big, and it's shaped like a giraffe, and it's all carved out. It's really neat. And point being is that I had Harry Potter on that stool, and there's a glass of water on the table above it, and I pushed something with my elbow, and the glass of water spilled, and it spilled onto the top cover of Order of the Phoenix, and I'm pretty sure I probably started crying, and immediately, got all the water off, and cleaned it all nicely, but the front of the book cover still has that kind of crinkly feeling to it. You can see that it's been waterified, which bothers me a little bit. T, toned or untoned while reading? In other words, do you exercise or work out at the same time? No. I dance. That's how I exercise. I'm a dancer, and so that doesn't really facilitate books. For those of you that would like to be tagged, I tag you! I hope you're all having lovely weeks and lovely lives. I'm still getting better at Capture the Castle, and it's getting really good because it's making me nervous now, and I will have an awesome review for you! I promise, and I guess it had better be since I've mentioned it 4 times now, and so it had better be really good.